great to be here, joined by my pal Nic Collins. How you doing, Nick?
Good, man.
It's
Good
great to see you. Thanks for having us along, because I think you're pretty much halfway through the UK leg of the tour.
Yeah, I think apparently it's halfway today through the UK, but then we got some German and Austrian dates after. But no, it's been really good so far. Thanks for coming.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
You must be sick of the sight of me now. You
No,
can answer honestly. It's
never,
all right. No.
never, Matty.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
But we're in Venue Cymru in Llandudno, beautiful venue, and I think we caught you here it wasn't last year, it was the year before?
Yeah, 2023. Yeah.
Wow, that's gone quick. Yeah. And I think that's always the debut tour for this beautiful kit which we're here to talk about. It's Gretsch. Now the Collins name is synonymous with Gretsch. You were never going to play anything different, were you?
No, I mean, like, it's just I'm lucky that all the companies that I endorsed were the first companies that I ever endorsed. You know? And a lot of them, pretty much all of them, were from what my dad was endorsing. I mean, obviously, DW weren't making hardware back in the day.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is different in different pedals, but really Gretsch, Sabian, ProMark, Remo, it's all, been in the family. So I've been really lucky to just been able to have a chance to play those drums, and then, I've just always loved the sound. And it's like family at this point.
Yeah, well, that's nice, isn't it, when you get to that level, when you can call, these huge companies family. It just makes life easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. You know, and people come and go, but when you get a good group of people, I think nowadays, really every company makes good gear. It's about the people you know there.
Yeah.
And the relationship you have.
And of course, it's not just equipment, it's the service. It's, you want to make sure you're getting the right stuff night by night, and you get that as well, don't you? So tell us about this kit. I mean, first of all, the finish. I'm hopefully you're going to be able to pick this up on the camera, but it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so the finish is like a custom finish that I came up with, based on their like deep black marine pearl thing that they have going on. They've got a deep black marine pearl, a white marine pearl.
Sure. But
the marine pearl is basically just the actual, grain or whatever is going on. Like the texture. And when we were prepping for this tour last time, so 2023, Mike didn't want like a big whole kit, because I'd been doing touring with Genesis with him.
Sure.
So it's a big concert tom kit, and he wanted something a bit more contained. Obviously, he didn't say anything about cymbals, so I went I went in on the cymbals.
Yeah.
But, 2 racks, 2 floors, and so I called up Gretsch. I went, look, I'm going to need a new kit. Do you guys happen to make the marine pearl in different colors? Because I have a deep black marine pearl kit at home. This is what I use all the time. And so picked out the shade of purple and kind of sent it to them. They saw what they thought, and then they put it together, and here we are. And now it's actually on their main line, really. So they really like the finish, so they put it out, and so you can kind of get this now. But I started it. I came up with it.
Well, did a little bit of you go, when they said, we're gonna make it available, because it's nice to have something that nobody else has got.
But drums are supposed to be played, and so I'll never gatekeep a finish.
No, but
so it's cool if somebody wants to play it.
Why wouldn't they? Look at
it looks great, and it reflects really nicely over the lights, and it's just a really cool finish.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say, I feel quite sorry for you at the moment that you can't sit here and actually just, because it really does pop, doesn't it?
Yeah,
just coin a phrase.
It really is stunning, and different venues, different lights, even the way it'll look sometimes. Sometimes when I just get here, it's just sound check and then go. This is the first time I've really been able to sit with like the lights right on it, and it looks beautiful.
Oh, it really does. It really does. So tell us about it. I mean, which model is this?
So this is a Gretsch USA custom.
Okay.
This is a 18 by 22 kick.
Yeah.
Usually at home, sometimes I'm playing a 24.
Yeah.
But this, 24 would be a bit extra for a mechanics gig.
Sure.
So 22, then a 7 by 10 rack tom, 9 by 13, 16 by 16, 16 by 18.
Yeah.
And then on the snare, it's a 6.5 by 14 black nickel bell brass, which is lovely. I mean, that's an up close shot. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And we weren't using that on the last run.
Okay.
But it was a snare that I got kind of last year. And usually, the venues on this tour are varying from very big theaters / small arenas, or sometimes it's a bit more intimate theater. And at first, so we have the wood snare that comes with this kit as like the spare, and I always went, if we play a gig where this brass snare is too much, we can always swap it out. So far, we've just been doing the brass snare the whole time.
Which is nothing.
Yeah, no, we're sticking. We're going loud and proud.
Well, you say loud, the bell brass will
Yeah.
literally take your head off, won't it?
Yeah, and actually, I remember when I first started playing it as a kid, it would just, even with in-ears in it, would just knock this frequency in my brain. I don't know if I've permanently erased that frequency from my, because now I don't notice it as much, but it used to be really abrasive, because, you know, it's got the die-cast tubes, it's, and I like it pretty cranked.
Yeah.
Like, I like that kind of snare sound, so, but it sounds great, you know, and you get a great response. I have fixed snare wires on it, so you get a lot of definition to everything you're doing.
Get a nice cross stick sound on there as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much the drums, and then
I've noticed, before we go on, I've noticed, is that a trigger or is that...
So yeah, it's a trigger. I've got a trigger on the snare and the kick for either like Simmons or electric sounding drums that they'll blend out front.
Yeah.
Or like we're doing I Can't Dance by Genesis, so that's got a real kind of crazy snare sound, kind of gated reverb thing. So we have that on a module.
So it's done live. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's always blended, and but it's just for those extra songs, you know, where you need that different kind of sound.
Sure.
And it adds a little bit of texture to the difference in the songs.
But that's nice to do. I mean, and you know, back in the day, people go, it's triggers. That kind of negative thing towards triggers, I don't think is there anymore.
Yeah, I think it depends what you use it for.
Yeah.
And even if you know, now you have like speed metal guys who are using triggers, which that's just part of what they do now. You know, I mean, I think obviously if you're using it there to kind of, like, this is not a double bass gig.
No.
It's never being used to trigger double bass stuff. It's always just more of a sound and an artistic thing that is either appropriate for the song or what, you know, the band kind of wants to hear. You know what I mean? And actually we only have the triggers on for 3 songs, Phil? Is that 4 songs?
4 songs.
4 songs on the trigger system.
But it's nice for people out there to actually hear that difference. Like, oh, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
You know? Because it's easy enough to do with tracks and things, but the fact that you're doing it live, triggering it live, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. No,
Cool.
and it keeps it, you know, different. And you know, a song like I Can't Dance, when that snare comes in,
Yeah.
you want to hear.
It's
that.
iconic, that.
Yeah, you want to hear that sound.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think you were just about to tell us about the cymbals. So
cymbals is all Sabian. You know, been with Sabian, you know, since I was a kid. And love their stuff. I'm always kind of trying new stuff out. This is pretty much similar to, or identical to, the last tour cymbal setup.
Yeah.
So starting all the way on the left is a 19-inch HH thin crash.
Yeah.
Under that is I believe that's a 10-inch ozone splash. Then a 19-inch complex fin up
That's
there.
this, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is an HHX Evolution 12-inch splash. 22-inch Legacy, HHX Legacy ride.
Beautiful rides, yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
You know, you get a nice wash and the bell. I love the HH Rock ride when you really want that
it'll
ping,
cut. Yeah.
but sometimes it's too much. And especially for a lot of different venues, sometimes it can really sit in the mix nicely and not be too abrasive. Then a 20-inch HHX Complex Thin. Those are my favorite, my go-to crashes are the HHX Complex Thins. I love them.
Beautiful.
I like the darker sound. Then a HHX Evolution Ozone 18-inch. And then the 21-inch A Holy China, my favorite cymbal of all time. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
of all
right.
time. It's always on my kit.
Wow.
It's abrasive, it's loud, I love it. And
So that's the one thing you can't do without.
yeah, I pretty much never have that off the kit. I'll change with some rides, and I've been using the same crashes the whole time. And I forgot to mention the hi-hats. Those are 15-inch artisan hi-hats.
Oh,
which again,
they are beautiful.
I love those
Yeah,
hi-hats.
yeah.
And at home I use, I think it's artisan light hats, which I love in the studio, but these seem to have a nice cut, even
Sure.
though they're slightly darker, slightly bigger. They still cut through the mix.
Absolutely.
And then after cymbals, heads, all Remo heads,
Yeah.
Emperor X on the snare, then clear Emperors on the toms. With
So you like the attack?
yeah,
Yeah.
and also Emperors, like, I hit pretty hard. I want them to last
Yeah,
longer
sure.
than just 1 or 2 shows. On the bottom of these is just the Gretsch Permaton, which I'm pretty sure is kind of like an ambassador.
Yeah.
Usually I'd have ambassadors here, but you know, we've just been rocking with these and they sound great.
Sure.
And then on the bottom of the floor toms, I actually have clear pinstripes.
Oh.
Yeah, I started.
Right, we're gonna have to know. What's the
I
thinking?
started doing that a couple years ago. I was just messing around with a tech that I work with back at home. His name is Eric Disrud. he's always helped me since I was like, you know, a kid, and so we were just, you know, had too much time on our hands and decided to. We were thinking, how can we get a great floor tom sound? So we started cutting holes in it to see if we could make it like a kick drum.
Right, okay.
That didn't work, and so then we just ended up on pinstripes because I think just that extra layer of, you know, whatever they have, like the plastic right on the side, and just it being a thick head just absorbs more of the overtones. And I don't want overtones on my floor toms.
Okay.
I want that just.
So rather than putting cotton wool balls in it or something, it's doing a similar.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just, you know, there's not a lot of method to that. It's just I just did
Hey, if it works,
liked it, and then kept it. You know.
If it works, it works. It's, simple,
Yeah.
it's a simple thing, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm looking forward to hearing it later on.
Yeah.
And hardware is all.
Yeah,
DW?
Yeah, DW, and then DW 9000 pedals.
Yeah.
So double pedal hi-hats. And then we've got ProMark sticks. I use Firegrain forward 5Bs.
No signature stick.
No, I don't care enough
No?
to have it. No, because I'm gonna break it. You know, like I'm gonna break it, and it's gonna take longer to make. I just need the stick. I don't
You
need.
can sell them then.
Yeah, I know. I don't need my name on it. You know what I mean? I'm the only one who's going to see this. It turns into a bit of a vanity thing. When
No,
you've
I
got,
get you.
Although,
you.
you know, it's always nice.
Oh, yeah, of
But
course.
just sometimes when you're putting a stick order, I go, if this is going to triple, double the amount of time it's going to take, just give me the normal sticks.
No,
Like, it's
I
fine.
get that.
You
I
know,
get that.
and then Porter and Davies drum throne, and then Roland Electronics. We've got an SPDX.
Yeah.
Running some sounds with 2 trigger bars. This trigger bar is really only for the drum solo, which I just added on this
Sure.
floor. Just you know, just to develop it, change it up every night. The other trigger bar on the left is, you know, I use it in the set for a couple songs.
Sure.
And then we have a TM6 trigger module, which is what's the snare and the kick are going to.
Yep.
And so Phil's back there, and he'll switch the patches on that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that pretty much does that.
Now you've got the Porter and Davis, but I notice a fairly sizable sub behind you as well. So do you have some? That's not enough.
Yeah, I go double, man. No, well, you do get a different feel from the sub, and before I used the Porter and Davies, that was always nice. I like the Porter and Davies. I think as a kid, I had it really hot, like really intense. Now I don't like it, so it's really just is there to feel the attack, but I do kind of, you know, have more of it going through the subs probably. I would assume. I don't exactly know what's coming out of there. I just can feel it, and it always feels pretty good.
That's all you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I just now on the thumper, it's just that slight thing so you can feel what exactly you're doing.
Yeah.
It's not getting the kick's not getting lost in the mix.
So your fillings aren't dropping out every time you hit
No,
the bass
yeah,
drum.
no.
I'm not saying you've got filling. You might have. I
No,
don't know.
well, no. I mean, but the first time I had it, like, you know, I did the first gig and my stomach was dead. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably cut this part out of the interview, but it's like getting a prostate exam every time you sit behind the drums. You know, you're like.
Reminder to myself, leave that in. Yeah. I've never had one, so I know.
Me
I
neither.
don't know.
But I would assume that's what it feels like.
I wasn't expecting to hear that.
Yeah.
today.
No, you probably edited it out. You know.
You say probably.
It's up to you.
Should we leave it in?
Artistic choice.
Leave it in. Oh, good grief. That's
Throwing you off
thrown
there.
me totally
Yeah, throwing
now.
you off. Yeah, you
I
weren't
was not
expecting
expecting to hear the words prostrate exam.
You do one
Prostrate.
right now with the subs on that.
No. It's all right. Yeah, we might edit that bit out, but
Yes, probably did. Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Nic Collins!
So there we go. So that's the kit, and you. It's nice to hear that you are a sound checker. Obviously, the band Soundcheck. So many these days, your wonderful crew come in and do it, and and then would you prefer to sound check rather than?
Definitely. I mean, I always, even on like some of my dad's tours, we didn't sound check. When you're playing, like, we were doing some stadiums in South America. Doors are open at like 2:33, like very early, because it's big venue, and they're just so you can't sound check unless you get to the gig like 7 hours before it's happening. But I would still always go behind the kit and just like sit behind it, make sure everything felt right. Everything. I couldn't really have a play around, but it was always just making sure it felt good. Now with this, we're always sound checking because the rooms will change. And you can tell. You sit down, and the minute you're in a different room, your whole mix is kind of different. So I always like to come down like a couple minutes before the rest of the band, just play around, mess about on the drums.
Yeah.
Then we sound check, and you can kind of get a bit of a feel for what the room's gonna sound like. And really, even though you're touring every night, you don't get that much time behind the kit. So it's always nice to kind of find some extra time.
Absolutely.
Just practice a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, look, Nick, I know you've got stuff to do before the show. We're looking forward to seeing the show, by the way. But before we go, I have to say, congratulations on the Drumeo thing.
Oh,
about you
thank
and your
you.
dad, because I think Brandon, Jared, they did an amazing job of it.
Yeah.
Were you happy with it?
Yeah, no, Drumeo did a great job. I mean, it was a long time in the making.
It was.
We filmed all that stuff at the end of 2022. So, with just different hurdles of copyright stuff and everything. So the fact that it finally came out was really special. They did an amazing job with the edit, and told this side of the story, which obviously, I to be able to sit down with my dad for 2 days and just ask him questions about what it was like and different drum parts was really cool. And the way they put it together was like, it was cool because since it was filmed so long ago, it feels like a long time ago. I sat down, watched it, and kind of had forgotten some of the things we spoke about, and so it was really nice to kind of, just kind of watch it all over again.
Did you get to watch it with your dad?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it was cool.
Was he pleased with it?
Yeah, he was really pleased with it, and he said thank you to me. He's like, thanks for putting this together. I went, of course, I had a just pleasure with Brandon putting the documentary together, putting the whole thing together. And I just think for my dad, it was like something to celebrate his career on a drumming front, which I don't think had ever really been done.
Yeah.
So many people know him just as a singer, so I thought it was like a cool way to just talk about drums.
Yeah.
And
well, I think the title of the documentary got that across, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it was amazing. Were you aware of the buzz when it was released? Because it was. Facebook and Instagram was that's all it was. There was nothing else.
Definitely. Well, the first the first trailer dropped and it got a good amount of views on Instagram, and then when the documentary dropped, it I think within a couple days had like already 3 million views or something, 3.5 million views. Or it was really the response was really cool, and also whether it was me or my dad getting emails from different people, whether they're in the industry, whether they're not, just being like, I just saw this documentary, it was really cool. I hadn't even sent it to them. They were just reaching out because it just came across their feed, which was really nice, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. And I think for a lot of drummers out there, it was a cool.
Because we've been eagerly waiting for it. Seemed like it was a long time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I had Jared on the podcast, and I was like, "Can you tell me when it's coming out?" And he's like, "Soon."
Yeah.
And thankfully, he wasn't kidding. It was soon.
Yeah.
It was well worth the wait. So
cool.
I think everyone.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm speaking for lots of people watching this. Hopefully, we all loved it. So, Nick, thanks for having us today, mate. Looking forward to the show.
Of course, yeah.
And I'll see you. Well, hopefully, see you after the show at some point.
Sounds good.
You get to put it with me again.
Cool.
So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to Nick. Thanks to all the lovely crew for having us. And see you soon.